Welcome everyone. I am Akhil Subhash and this is my project explanation video. The title of my project is 3D printed robotic arm. This robotic arm has 5 degrees of freedom. The first degree of freedom is the base rotation. The second degree of freedom is the arm rotation. This is the third degree of freedom, and this is the fourth degree of freedom, and this is the fifth degree of freedom. And for the end effector we are using a gripper. For the motion of robotic arm, we are using 5 metal gear servos. For the base rotation and for the second and third degree of freedom, we are using MG996R metal gear servos which have a torque of 11 kgs. And for the remaining 3 degrees of freedom, we are using the smaller and lighter weight MG90S metal gear servos which have a stall torque of 1.8 kgs. And the parts of the robotic arm are made using my own modified Ender 3 3D printer. And for the material we have chosen PLA black filament. The heart of the robot is an STM32 microcontroller which is going to control all the servos. And to power the microcontroller as well as the robot, we are using a 12 volt SMPS, or we also have option for a 3S1P lithium ion battery. The operational voltage of robot is 5 volts, but the output from power supply is 12 volts. So to reduce the voltage from 12 volts to 5 volts, we are going to use a step down buck converter which is based on LM2596 IC. We are still developing the electronics and the user interface of robot. The user interface is going to be made using Python, and the user interface and microcontroller both are going to communicate over serial communication. The microcontroller will give commands to the motor based on the user input. In order to make the user interface simple and easy to use, we are going to take help of Python Tinker library. It will provide us out of the box solution like sliders and buttons to make an interactive interface. The interface will consist of sliders to control each arm of the robot individually, and it will also consist of buttons to perform a certain repetitive task in a loop. PySerial is a Python library that will take inputs from the user interface and send it to microcontroller over serial communication. Summary of hardware parts used: MG996R to do the heavy lifting, and MG9OS servo motors for the wrist and motion of gripper. 3D printed parts are made using Ender 3 3D printer. The parts are made using a material called as PLA, which stands for polylactic acid. It's a lightweight and easy to work with material. LM2596 buck converter. It will help us to reduce the voltage from 12 volts to 5 volts, which is required for the servo motors. 12 volt switch mode power supply, which will convert the AC to 20 to 230 volt AC supply to 12 volt DC. STM32 nucleo board will be the brains of our robotic arm. Summary of software components used: Python to make the user interface and for serial communication. Arduino IDE is going to be used to program STM32. Tinker library is a Python library used to build user interfaces. PySerial library will help us for communication between the computer and the microcontroller. KiCad is going to be used to make the final PCB, and Ultimaker Cura software is a 3D printing software used to make 3D printed parts. Thank you.